So, good afternoon, everyone. Let us start this online class with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, we come to you today and pray, asking for your guidance. Begin class. Be focused. As we learn and grow together, give us the strength to stay motivated and the courage to ask questions we needed. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So, may I call on Karen De Salas to continue the discussion?
Thank you, Miss Rowena. Madungog ra ko?
Yes, Karen.
Okay, thank you. So, I'm going to continue the topic about the function of money and supply. So, before that, we have to recap first from our previous discussion. So, first, we tackle the how made the cowries work, as well as how the cowrie work as a money, and then we identify the different forms of money, such as the commodity money, metallic money, fiduciary money, bank drafts or checks, commercial bank money, representative money, paper money, and the credit money. So after that, we also identify the characteristics of the money, such as the durability, portability, uniformity, acceptable, and the relative scarcity. And we also point out the function of the money, like medium of exchange, store of value, standard of deferred payments, unit of account, guarantee of solvency, and the gifts. And lastly, we define what is the demand for money. And now let's continue the lesson and let's identify what is the money supply. So money supply refers to the total volume of money held in the public at a particular point in time. There are several ways to define money, but the standard measures usually include currency and circulation and demand deposit. So, money supply is recorded and published usually by the National Statistical Agency or the Central Bank of the country. So, the empirical money supply measures are usually named M1, M2, M3, and etc. So, according to how wide the definition of the money they embrace, so they precise the definition vary from country to country, in part depending on the national financial institution tradition. So, aron mas masabtan nato kung unsang money supply, let's watch a video.
The Federal Reserve is the central bank of the United States.
Wait lang, nara by audio? Nara may madunggan?
Naara daw.
A central bank provides financial and banking services for its country's government and commercial banking system, implements monetary policy, and issues currency. One of the central bank's most important roles is to manage the economy so that there is full employment and stable prices. One of the tools that the Fed uses to achieve these goals is determining the amount of money in the economy. Therefore, the supply of money, the quantity of money available in the economy, is set by the Fed independent of the interest rate. This makes the supply of money a vertical line at whatever quantity of money the Fed determines based on monetary policy and price levels. The Fed uses two definitions of the money supply to measure the amount of money in the economy. M1 contains the most liquid forms of monetary assets: currency, checkable deposits, and traveler's checks. These are the forms of money that are most often used as a medium of exchange. Most stores take any of these three methods for payment for goods and services. In September of 2017, the Federal Reserve estimated the value of M1 to be $3.5 trillion. The definition of M2 is much broader. It includes everything in M1, along with savings deposits, money market mutual funds, and certificates of deposit less than $100,000. These accounts are less liquid than the assets in M1, but still can be used relatively easily if needed. All an individual has to do is transfer her savings deposits to her checking deposit or withdraw funds using an ATM to make a purchase. However, an individual cannot use her savings account directly to purchase something in a store without taking those additional steps to move the money into a more liquid form. The Federal Reserve estimated that the value of M2 was $13.7 trillion in September 2017. Thus, individuals hold a greater portion of money in less liquid forms, such as savings accounts and small deposits. It is important to realize that money represents more than just currency. Money is currency and deposits that an individual can access very easily. In fact, in September 2017, only $1.5 trillion of currency was in the hands of the public. By far, the majority of money in the United States economy is in deposits at banks or is reflected in the M2 money supply. It is not printed currency, but rather longer-term assets that are less liquid. Another important thing to note is that credit cards have not been mentioned. Although a person can use a credit card to buy a good or service, he is not paying for the product at the time. Rather, he is deferring payment to a later date. In other words, a credit card is not a store of value. Therefore, credit cards are not considered a form of money in the economy. In contrast, a debit card is directly linked to an individual's checkable deposits and thus represents the store of value function of money.
So thank you. So that is the money supply. So now let's proceed to the velocity of money. So the velocity of money is a measurement of a rate at which money is exchanged in an economy. So it is the number of times that money moves from one entity to another. So the velocity of money also refers to how much a unit of currency is used in a given period of time. So simply put, it's the rate at which consumers and businesses in a economy collectively spend the money. So let's also watch the video so that we can understand it.
Hey everyone, I'm Mr. Willis, and this is your Macro Minute on the velocity of money. The velocity of money is like the blood pressure of the economy. It tells us the speed at which consumers spend each dollar in supply, and therefore, the nominal GDP that can be purchased in a given time period. Quite simply, the velocity of money tracks the number of times a single unit of money is spent to buy goods and services over time. The velocity of money equation is MV equals PQ. M represents the amount of money being tracked. B represents the velocity at which money changes hands in a given time period. P represents price, and Q represents the quantity of domestic output produced. Together, price and quantity total nominal GDP. This equation can help us find any information we need to know about nominal GDP, the money supply, or the velocity at which money is being spent. For example, if the velocity of money in the United States is 5, and the Federal Reserve increases the money supply by $5 billion, we can project that the Fed's monetary policy will create $25 billion of nominal GDP in the United States economy over a given period of time. Now assume that the United States is producing $20 trillion of nominal GDP, and the velocity of money is 4. By using the velocity of money equation, we can project that the quantity of money supplied in the United States economy is $5 trillion. Now assume that the money supplied in the United States economy is $6 trillion, and the United States economy is producing $18 trillion of nominal GDP output. By using the velocity of money equation, we can project that the current velocity of money in the United States economy is 3. When the velocity of money is high, we know that consumption levels are high in the economy. Money is changing hands rapidly through the purchase of goods and services, which means the economy is heating up and inflation can be expected. When the velocity of money is low, we know that consumption levels are low and the economy is struggling. We can also assume that when the velocity of money is high, fiscal and monetary policy will be more effective. Any disposable income injected into the economy or new money created in the banking system will be spent at a quicker rate in the aggregate economy, which creates GDP output faster over time. Thank you so much for watching. That's the velocity of money.
So that is the velocity of money. So that would be all my topic about the function of money and supply. So now, let me call on our second reporter, Ms. Albanbuena Reyame. Thank you.
Maria Joy. Okay,
Sorry.
thank you, Miss Karen De Salas. So, okay pa ba ang tanan? If okay pa be, please, thumbs up daw be if okay pa ba ang tanan. Okay, thank you. So before we start, let me introduce myself first. I am Miss Ria Joel Banbana, the second reporter for today, and I will discuss about the money and the central bank. So next slide, please. Okay, who wants to read this part? Yes, Miss Laika.
Monetary system of the Philippines. The Central Bank of the Philippines is chiefly responsible for the implementation of our monetary policy and is the sole authority on money matters as embodied in the Section 2 Articles of the Amended Republic Act 265.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mendoza. So we all know naman what is the Central Bank of the Philippines. It is the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. So the bank's objectives include regulating the money circulation to support trade and industry, producing money and overseeing monetary, banking, and credit systems to achieve stability and faster economic development. It is also permitted to produce money and is in charge of monetary banking and credit systems of the country to achieve monetary stability and create conditions conducive to economic development. So it will always be accepted within and outside the country as a medium of exchange. So as such, it preserves the confidence of the people in money as a thing of value and an essential institution of the economic system. So once the trust is broken, money ceases to function as it should be, as vehicle of economic activities and pillar of the price system. So there are negative consequences no if uncontrolled ang growth sa money supply. So if daghag kanang maproduce ang money ang usa ka bangko, dili din na siya kanang positive nga aspect sa economy because it will lead to high inflation which can disrupt investments and the production and employment. Kaya nga naman, kay more demand man ang sa kadaghang mong kwarta ang mga tao, so syempre daghang demand but walay supply. So in result nga ang mga product kay padak-an og price. And also workers may demand high wages and the decrease in the value of currency which leads to the expensive imports. And also, ang usa nga negative consequence sa kanang daghang money supply kay ang counterfeit money which we also know as the fake money which is illegal in our economy. So next slide please. Okay, so now we have the fraction reserve system, in which fractional reserve system is a banking system in which banks are only required to hold a part of the money they receive as reserves. So the deposits of customers are used by banks to make new loans and to pay interest on their deposits. So the reserves are kept as the bank balances at the central bank account or as a currency. So commercial banks can function as intermediaries between borrowers and depositors by making loans to borrowers and providing intermediate liquidity to depositors
who want to make withdrawals under the reserve requirement. So ang kaning fractional reserve system kay mo ni ang mag-deposit ka sa bangko. For example, mag-deposit ka og 100,000. Dayo dili day na ang gatuotan no nga if mag-deposit ta sa bangko kay tanan diha ra gyud na ang kwarta. No, kay dapat ang bangko ilahan nang i-circulate gani para mutaas pa, dili lang siya mapundo diha sa bangko. So 20% for example, ang bangko kay 20% ra sa 100% ay sa 20% tra sa 100,000 ang ilahang dawaton. The rest kay ilahang imuon nga kanang para loan sa mga kuan, sa mga lender or kanang sa mga commercial banks. So mo na siya ang the fraction reserve system. So for example, kanang nasa deposit liability creation, assuming that a commercial bank accepts demand deposits of 100,000 and that any time the fractional cash demand of check holders is 20%. So just like what I have said earlier. So 20% of 100,000 is 20,000. So 100,000 minus 20,000 is 80,000. So kanang 80,000 mo na ang ilahang pahulman sa mga lain nga bangko or sa mga borrower nga mga tao. And also 20% of 80,000 is 60,000. So mosad na ang ilang pahulman. And also katong mga nanghulam ana kanang 80,000, 60,000 kay narasad na nila if ibalik nila sa bangko. So magbalik-balik ra gyapon sa bangko ang tanan, in which magbalik-balik ra ang the fraction reserve system. So imbis nga ang money kay kanang na-stock ka sa bangko, magkataas day siya. So mao na ang purpose nga nung ang bangko kay naa sila gitawag nga fraction reserve system. Kay gamiton man nila ang reserve nga money to kanang ilang ipa-borrow or himuon nga loan para mas ma-increase pa ang money nga gi-deposit nimo. So kasabot ra ba ang tanan kung unsa ang fraction reserve system? Kasabot ra mo guys? Okay, thank you. So next slide please. Okay, so next we have the money creation. Who wants to read this part? Yes, Miss Sumalinog.
Money creation. The movement of reserves from bank to bank constitutes the money creation process, with each bank using extra reserves to make loans and checkable deposits and holding a portion of the reserves to back up newly made deposits. Bank deposits, the largest component of the money stock, are physically generated by accounting entries, and the amount created or the authorized growth rate is the area marked by the central bank.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Malinog. So now we will know how is money being created. So, nana siya formula, guys. So next slide, please. Great. Next slide na. Okay, so money created is equals to reserves times multiplier, in which L is equals to M, or M is equals to L over R, and since R is equals to R less than 1, therefore M is equals to 1 over R. So para mas makasabot mo guys kanang dili na mo maglisod identify unsa ang formula, dapat inyong i-remember ang M ra, in which ang M kanang gamay nga M is equals to 1 over R. Mao na siya ang money multiplier, where M is equals to money multiplier, R is the reserves, L is the deposit liabilities, and R is equals to ratio of reserves. So dapat natong dapat kibawta mo identify kung unsa ang multiplier o ang reserves para makahibaw ta unsaon pag-calculate sa money created. So understand ra ba guys? Unsa gani ang dapat nato
Yes,
nga
ma'am.
unsa gani dapat nato nga iput sa mind para maka-calculate sa money created?
Ang M.
Anyone?
M of equals to
Ang M nga
Ang
gamay.
M og ang
Kay reserves.
M og okay, so
Reserve.
reserves og M. So next slide please. Okay, for example, ang reserve nato kay 100,000 billion. Ya, ang rate in which ang rate nga gipangayo ra sa ay ang ratio nga gipangayo ra sa bank kay 20%. Dayon ang M is saan gani pagkuha sa M? Sa multiplier? 1 over
Over
ratio. Yes, so 1 over ratio. And it is equals to 1 over 0.20. Kay 20 man ang ratio diha, 20% raman ang gipangayo sa bangko. So 1 over 0.20 is equals to 5. So mo na ang ato ang multiplier. So now we will calculate na kung unsaon pagkuha sa money. So money created is equals to reserves times M. So unsa gani ang reserves diha? Unsa ang pila ang kwarta nga atong gideposit?
100 billion.
Yes, 100 billion. So pila ang multiplier?
5.
5. Okay, so 100 billion times 5 is equals to 500 billion. So mao na ang money created. Kasabot ra ba guys?
Yes po, miss.
Yes,
Miss. Okay, so another example. Okay, so here is another example. So, reserve nato kay 200,000. Dayon ang ratio nga gipangayo sa bangko kay 10%. Dayon M multiplier 1 over R in which 1 is divided to 10% is equals to 10. So money created is equals to reserves times multiplier is equals to 200,000 in which mo natong reserve dayon ang multiplier kay 10. So pila man?
1 million.
2 million. So next slide daw be. Correct. So the money created is 2 million. So easy ra kayo guys kung unsa ni siyang money created. Dapat ato ra dyan i-remember kung unsa ang formula, kung unsaon pagkuha ang multiplier dayon kibaw sa tamo divide. So in conclusion for my discussion, so man ako guys. So that's all for my report, and in summary of my discussion, we have the central bank in which its objectives include regulating money circulation to support trade, industry producing money, and overseeing monetary banking and credit systems. And we also have the fractional reserve system, where it is a banking system in which banks are only required to hold a part of the money they receive as reserves. And lastly, we have the money creation, which has the formula of money created equals reserves times multiplier. So that's all for my part. I hope you understand my discussion. So thank you. So now let me call on Ms. Riame Gabrina for the next discussion.
Madunggan ra ko.
Yes, miss.
Okay, thank you, Miss April. So, just one lang guys, sa palig lang ko sulti if nawaan ako kay bati gyud kay ang signal diri.
Hello, sorry kay guys, ano. Ni-log akong cellphone, nikalit lang og kuan ba, live sa Google Meet. Okay, so we will continue. Madunggan ra ba ko?
Yes, yes. Loud and clear.
So, I'll be the third reporter, and I will discuss about the function of a central bank. So in this topic, we will talk about how central bank plays several key functions in an economy. So but first, we will determine what is the central bank is. So please go next slide, Ms. Joanna. Okay, so can someone read? Ms. Tolintin, please read. Thank you.
A central bank, a financial institution with exclusive authority over the creation and distribution of money and credit for a country or a group of countries, is known as the central bank. In contemporary economies, the central bank is typically in charge of monetary policy formulation and member bank regulation.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Tolintin. So, this means that the central bank is like a boss of money in the country. So, sila ang mo-decide og pila ang kwarta nga dapat buhaton og gihatag. So, kung maglisod ang usa ka bangko like anang mga BPI, BDO or unsa pa ng mga bank nga nasa atong country, so ang central bank sa Philippines kay sila ang mutabang ana nga bank. So like muhatag sila og kwarta para ma-save ang bangko. Like for example, ibutang lang nato kung sa business, di ba? Kay if sa business ug malugi ang usa ka business, then pwede ra sila moduol sa bangko, mo file sila og bankruptcy. So ang bangko nga ilahang giadtuan, like example sa BPI baron, ang BPI ang muhatag nila og kwarta para ma-save ang ilang business. So same ra gihapon if ang bangko ang magka financial crisis, so ang central bank ang mutabang sa kanang mga bangko nga nakakuan og financial crisis. So nasabtan ra ba what is central bank? Please ko kuan thumbs up. Okay, so next slide please. Okay, now let us proceed to the function of the central bank. So we have two functions of central bank. We have traditional functions and the non-traditional function. So we will discuss it one by one. So when we say traditional function, generally performed by central bank all over the world. So this means that like nag-imagine ka nga ikaw ang in charge sa kanang like na party no, ikaw ang in charge. So just like sa central bank, sila ang in charge ana tanan. So we have two function of traditional function. We have primary function and secondary functions. So first we have the primary function, including issue of notes. So issue of note means like sila ang mo buhat sa kwarta o mo make sure that the money they made is like the same and valid. So next we have regulation of financial system. So this means that they make rules to make sure that everyone follows them. So katong mga banks and businesses related should follow the rules. So next we have conduct of monetary policy. So When we say conduct of monetary policy, they control how much money is available and keep prices steady. So para daw walay mawad-an og kwarta or walay malugi, so gikuha nila ang mga prices nga kaya ra pud. So next we have the secondary function. So it includes management of public debt. So when we say management of public debt, they handle the government's borrowing and debts. So sila ang mag-handle sa katong mga gihuwam sa gobyerno or mga utang sa gobyerno to ensure that government financial stability. So and also we have management of foreign exchange. So sila ang mo-handle sa mga money nga nasa other country like katong mga exchange rate, diba? So next we have advising government policy matters. So sila ang central bank and mo advise sa government about sa money and ilahang mga decision. So next we have maintaining close relationship with international financial. So this means that they work with banks nga naa sa lain-lain nga country to keep things running smoothly. So now let's proceed to non-traditional function. So when we say non-traditional function, these functions are performed by central bank include development of financial framework. When we say development of financial framework, they help banking better in the country. And also provision of training facilities to bankers. So when we say provision of training facility bankers, so they teach people in banking and how to do their jobs better. And lastly, we have the provision of credit to priority sector. So this means that they give loans or help to important parts of economy like kanang farming or like mga small business para mag-grow ang business nila and to make sure that the business will succeed. So in simple terms, traditional function of central banks are about managing money and make sure banks follow rules. So and also non-traditional function help economy grow by improving banking, teaching people skills and other important parts of economy. So this function help the central bank plays a bigger role in keeping the economy stable and making it stronger. So next slide please. Now we will proceed to the common function of central bank. So there are 7 common functions of central bank. So first we have the regulator of currency. Can someone read? Miss Ella Marie Pipito.
Hello, Miss. Maklaro ako tingog. Hello, maklaro na po ako tingog. Yes, okay, thank you very much. Number 1, regulator of currency. So the issue of paper money is the most important function of a central bank. So the central bank is the authority to issue currency for circulation, which is a legal tender money.
Okay, thank you, Miss Ella Marie Pipito. So when we say regulator of currency, so the central bank is like the big boss that makes sure the money we use, like dollar bills, are printed correctly and used safely. So sila ang mo make sure no nga ang kwarta nga atong gigamit like kanang mga dollar bills or kanang mga kwarta nga atong gigamit diri sa Pilipinas is correctly and used safely. So next, number 2, we have banker, agent, and advisor to the government. Please, can someone please read? Okay, Miss Lady Marie Bitong, go ahead.
So the central bank of the country acts as the banker, fiscal agent, and advisor to the government. As a banker, it keeps the deposits of the central and state governments and makes payments on behalf of governments. So as a fiscal agent, the bank makes short-term loans to the government for a period not exceeding 90 days. As an advisor, the bank gives useful advice to the governments on important monetary and economic problems like devaluation, foreign exchange policy, and budgetary policy.
Okay, thank you, Miss Lady. So, when we talk about banker agent and advisor to the government, this means like, just like sa ako gisulti ganiya nga, ang central bank is the advisor of, like, sila ang mo-advise sa government when it comes to money and their decisions. So, it holds the government's money and helps them with their financial decisions. So sila ang mutabang o mutabang when it comes to money, and also mutabang sila when it comes to the government decision. So next slide please. We have custodian of cash reserves of commercial banks. So commercial banks are required to keep certain percentage of cash reserves with the central bank. So on this basis of these reserves, the central bank transfer funds from one back to another to facilitate the clearing of changes. So when we talk about custodian of cash reserves or of commercial banks, so it's like when you put money in the regular bank, a part of it goes to the central bank. So mo na siya ang makakuan nga, example malugi ang or ma-bankrupt ang usa ka bank. So to make sure nga napa sila cash nga makuha or napay cash nga makuha ang mga tao, kung naay mga aberya nga mahitabo, so ang central bank magkuha nag gamay nga kwarta gikan sa kanang nagkalain-lain nga bank para makuha nga like ma-safety ang kwarta in case og naay mga kuano naay mga bati nga mahitabo. So next we have the number 4, we have the custodian and management of foreign exchange. So the central bank keeps and manages the foreign exchange reserve of the country. So it fixes the exchange rate of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency. So if there are fluctuations in the foreign exchange rate, it may have to buy and sell foreign currencies in order to minimize the instability of exchange rates. So this means that just like sa kanang mga nagtrabaho abroad, no, so sila ang mo manage ana nga mga kwarta, like mga di ba lahi-lahi man na og mga rate ang kwarta, no, like lahi sa US, lahi sa lahi sa Australia. So sila ang mo manage ana nga kwarta, og sila pud ang mo help keep our money value steady compared to the other country. So next slide please. Next slide please. Okay, so we have number 5, the lender of the last resort. So can someone read? Just raise your virtual hand so I will know. Saganan. Okay, Mr. Ampong Alcano, go ahead.
By giving accommodation in the form of free discounts and collateral advances to commercial banks, bill broker, and their financial institution, the central bank acts as the lender of the last resort. The central bank lends to such institutions in order to help them when they are faced with different situations, so as to save the financial structure of a country from collapse.
Okay, thank you. So when we say lender of the last resort, so kung ang bangko is magka-trouble o kanang nanginahanglan og kwarta, so ang central, they can ask kanang help sa central bank, no? So it's like financial superhero that swoops into and save day and keep the banking system stable. So sila ang mo tabang sa mga bangko nga nanginahanglan. So number 6, we have clearing house function. Can someone read? Okay, Miss Villanueva.
Number 6, clearinghouse function. So the central bank acts as a clearinghouse for other banks, and mutual obligations are settled through the clearing system. Since it holds cash reserves of commercial banks, it is easier for the central bank to act as a clearinghouse.
Okay, thank you, Miss Villanueva. So, clearinghouse function. So, gawonder ba mo nga kung ano mag-withdraw mo or magkuha mo kwarta sa bangko is dali ra kaayo mabalhin sa pikas nga bank, no? Like if kadang naa ka sa BPI card, pwede man ka makakuha og kwarta, no, bisan asa. Takto ba ko? Pero yeah, kay kuan man, like ang central bank magtabang ana, no, kay ang sila ang kuan ba, murag traffic enforcer gani, like para ma-keep ang kanang transaction kay smoothly between the banks. So sila ang kanang kuan, murag traffic enforcer para nindot ang flow sa transfer nga kwarta or ana ba. So that is the common function of central bank. We have number 6, clearing the house function. Lastly, we have, next slide please. Okay, lastly we have the common function, the controller of credit. So I'll just discuss this, so no need to we will send lang the presentation, no? So I will just discuss this kay tas man og basahon, no? So when you say controller of credit, so the central bank decide, sila ang mo decide kung pila ang kwarta nga mahatag within the economy. So it's like sila ang mag-adjust kung dapat dako ba ang kwarta ang mapagawas or gamay lang or sakto lang. So that is what we call controller of credit. It means sila ang mag-control. So that's all for the common function of central bank. So we have the regulator of currency, the bank agent advisor to the government, custodian of cash reserves of commercial banks, custodian and management of foreign exchange reserves, lender of the last resort. 6, we have clearinghouse function and the controller of credit. So next slide please. Okay, now we have in the Philippine setting. So as stated in the section 2 article of the amended Republic Act of 2656, it is responsibility of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas to administer the Republic's monetary, banking, and credit system. So the objectives are as follows. So first, to maintain internal and external monetary. So or like maintain nila ang stability. So to keep the value of our money steady within the country and internationally, this means that making sure, so gi-make sure nila ang prices nga dili mo saka pagdali is, and ang kwarta nga naa nato sa Pilipinas. So sila ang mo make sure that the price didn't go up too fast and our money can be easily exchanged for other country. So kay basin niya dili na like malugi na ang atong kuan or mabankrupt, di ba? So dapat sila ang mag-maintain og stability. So next we have to promote monetary or to promote growth, so this means that create condition that helps the economy grow steadily and evenly. So this includes like managing how much money is available for borrowing or setting interest rates and handling currencies exchange to support a healthy economy that benefits everyone. So next slide please. We have 3 more slides. Okay, now we will continue the confidence in money. So the central bank is the only authorized government entity to print money and is responsible for the proper administration of monetary, banking, and credit system of republic to achieve monetary stability and create condition conducive to economic development. So this means that kanang kabaw na magitano na ang central bank are only allowed sila ra ang allowed nga mo create og money. So it is tasked with managing the country's money. Sila ang mo manage sa kwarta sa usa ka country, and also the banking and credit system. So its main job is to make sure that the value of money stays steady and to create the environment that helps the economy grow. So next slide please. Okay, next we have the unrestrained growth in money supply. So can someone read? This is the last slide. Second to the last slide. Miss Rowena Landau, can you please read?
Okay. Unrestrained growth in money supply, it causes severe inflation and distorts investment, production, and employment. In this case, money tends to lose value and people prefer to tie up money to rapidly appreciating but non-productive assets in real forms like jewelries and lands.
Okay, thank you. So, ang gipasabot diri is kanang dapat i-check gyud ang growth and the amount of money available, no? Kay kung dili nimo i-check, there's a tendency nga mo lead siya into serious inflation, like magkataas ang mga presyo dali kaayo, then it messes up how investment, production, and jobs are handled. So kanang ang mga tao is magkuan na no, kay dako naman kayo sila og kanang sample dako na kayo, mga mahal na kayo ang mga palitunon. So mas mahal ang mga palitunon kaysa sa ilang mga mabaligya is gamay ra ang mopalit, di ba? So people start to see their money lose, so they might invest things like jewelry or land and are really being used but going up in value fast. So mabito na ang uban kay mo invest gyud like mga mahalon nga mga gamit, no, kay in case gani nang malugi ilang business or ma-bankrupt, at least naa sila makuhaan, like mabaligya nila. So that is dapat gyud i-check ang growth in amount of money available. So ang Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas sa ato diri country, so sila gyud ang mag-check pirmi sa growth in money supply para dili dayon ma-lead into a serious inflation. So last slide. Okay, can someone read the last slide? Miss Miss Bitong, can you please read the last slide?
Means that money loses value and may even be an exception when a rule as a medium of exchange.
Okay, thank you, Miss Bitong. So, it said that it means that when fake money spread everywhere without control, so real money start to lose its value. So, it becomes less reliable for buying and selling things, and people might stop using it altogether, relying on the other method instead. So, just like karon, di ba, na may mga mga GCash, no? Na may kanang mga lain nga way para mo bayad without using kanang kwarta nato, di ba? So um when and also kay kanang careful pud ta sa mga mga money nga spread nga mga fake money, no? So that's why ang central bank sila ang mag-check, no, sa mga nga fake money, like basin daghan kayo na biktimaan ng mga fake money, so ang bangko baya ang mudawat sa kwarta, di ba? So they should have they always check the circulation of fake money. So that's all for my topic. I hope you learned something from it. Thank you guys for listening and participating. Now, we have Miss Joanna Landau to present the last topic or to report the last topic. Thank you guys for listening.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I am the last reporter this afternoon, and I will going to discuss the monetary policies and their limitations. So, what is monetary policy? It is one of the two tools the government has to manage the economy. So, one of the two. So, it means na pa isa. Ang isa kay katong fiscal policy, katong gitakol sa last group. When we say monetary policy, like for example, owner ka sa isa ka store, let's say coffee shop, then if you want to sell more coffee, pwede nimo ipa-lower ang price to attract the customers. Similar ni siya sa central bank. Sa kanang paubsa nila ang interest rate to encourage people and businesses to borrow and spend more money, which is makahelp siya sa pag-stimulate sa economy. On the other hand, if you want to slow down sales because you are running out of supply, patasan nimo ang price sa imong product. Mura rasad ni siya central bank na patasan ang interest rate to slow down borrowing and spending, which can help prevent the economy from overheating and causing inflation. So, there are two types of monetary policy. First is expansionary, increase economic activity, which is where the government is trying to increase economic activity in a particular country, increase growth, right? For example, si Miss Bihag, isa ka owner sa coffee shop, then lately nagkahinay iyang sales, then naka-decide siya nga i-expand iyang business, so naka-decide siya nga mag-loan sa bangko at lower interest rate para ma-renovate iyang shop and maka-offer siya og wider variety of products sa mga customers. So na-notice sa iyang mga customer, like for example, iyang usa siya mga customer kay si Jaira and Laika. So na-notice nila nga ang kani nga coffee shop kay nag-improve. So ato na dayon sila mag-coffee date. In this scenario, the central bank's expansionary monetary policy of lowering interest rates has encouraged borrowing and spending, leading to increased economic activity for the store and the surrounding community. So second is the contractionary monetary policy. This is decreased economic activity. So this is designed to decrease the phase of economy, because an economy that is moving too fast is an economy that will lead to inflation. So maong naka-decide ang bangko nga mag-implement og contractionary monetary policy. So it means patas-an nila ang interest rate. For example, same scenario ganiha katong si Miss Bihag, isa ka owner sa coffee shop, then kanang nagplan siya nga i-expand diba to iyang shop, and then mag-loan siya sa bank, but due to high interest rate naka-decide siya nga dili na lang niya dayon nun. Then naka-notice ang mga customer niya nga katong sila Laika and Jaira nga kanang nagtaas ang iyang price sa iyang coffee shop, so mangita jud sila alternative ang customer no. So ato jud sila sa mas barato. So ato jud sila sa kanang mas barato. So ang store ni Miss Bihag nihinay ang sales. In this scenario, the central bank's contractionary monetary policy of raising interest rates has led to reduced borrowing and spending, resulting to slower economic activity for the store and the surrounding community. So the central bank controls the monetary policy, and so the central bank controls the monetary policy, right? And there are two types of monetary policy. So first is the interest rate. If the government wants to increase economic activity, so they are going to reduce interest rate. If the government wants to decrease economic activity, they are going to raise the interest rate. So if i-reduce nila ang interest rate, more businesses will invest, and if increase nila ang interest rate, less businesses will invest. So next is the money supply. It's not about kanang mag-print lang sila daghan og money para mo daghan ang supply sa money ha. This means the total money circulating the economy, including cash, coins, and bank deposits. So next is the circulation flow sa monetary policy. So this is the unstable economy. Imagine a country facing an economic downturn characterized by high unemployment, low consumer spending, and nagkahinay ang economic growth. This unstable economy creates challenges for businesses, workers, and consumers. So then diri na musud si central bank. In response to the unstable economy, the central bank decides to implement the central bank decides to implement expansionary monetary policy. This involves injecting monetary stimulus into the economy to encourage borrowing, spending, and investment. Then controlling the money supply kani. The central bank takes various actions to control the money supply. It might lower interest rates to make borrowing cheaper for businesses and consumers. So here, the economic stability and growth. As businesses invest more and consumers spend more, economic activity begins to pick up. The increased spending leads to higher demand for goods and services, which in turn to kanang mudaghan na gani ang jobs and mutaas na sad ang income. This positive cycle of economic activity contribute to the economic stability and sustainable growth over time. So these are the short-run tools affecting money supply. First is reserve requirements. Who wants to read? Okay, Ms. Sumalinog.
Reserve requirements are a tool used by monetary authorities such as central banks to control the money supply in an economy. In a fractional reserve banking system, commercial banks are required to hold only a fraction of their deposit liabilities as reserves, allowing them to create more money through lending.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Somalinog. So this means the bank have to keep a portion of the money people deposit with them as reserves. For example, si Mayor nagdeposit og 50,000 sa bangko, and the reserve requirements is 20%. The bank keeps 10,000 kay mo to siyang 20%, and can lend out 40,000 to others kanang ipahuwam gani nila sa mga mag-loan kay dili magud na siya pwede nga kanang stay lang di ba sa bangko kay dili man na magtubo ang kwarta. So sa imong gi-deposit nga 20%, right gibilin sa bangko mauning gitawag nga reserve. Then ang remaining 80, so mao na tong gipabaro nila sa mga tao. This way, banks can create more money by lending out most of the deposits by receive. So next is rediscounting. Who wants to read? Miss Verdigar, please read the rediscounting.
Sorry. Rediscounting is a monetary policy tool used by central banks to inject or withdraw liquidity from the banking system. It involves the central bank purchasing loan papers or loans receivable from commercial banks at a discounted rate.
Okay, thank you, Miss Verdigar. For example, naa kay bagong gamit gipalit, but need jud kaayo nimo og cash kay kanang unexpected gani nga baryonon. Then naka-decide ka nga ibaligya imong bagong gamit at a lower price. Imbes 1K ang imong palit ato nga thing na gamit, baligya na lang siya nimo og 800. So, in banking, when a bank needs quick cash, they can sell some of the loans that they have given out to the central bank for a bit less than their original value. So, if a loan is worth 100 coin, the central bank might buy it for like 90 coins. This helps the bank get money quickly while the central bank takes on those loans. So, next is the open market operations. Who wants to read? Manawag ko ha. Okay, Miss Bitong, please read.
Open market operations are a key tool used by central banks to influence the money supply and interest rates in an economy.
Okay, thank you, Miss Bitong. Like, for example, everyone, ang kanang usa ka company, nag-need og dako nga kwarta para mo grow ilang company. So, nanghuam sila og money. In return, the company promises to pay back the amount you lent plus some extra money called interest. So, the capital plus the interest, so dako-dako jud siya nga money supply, right? So, next, we have the selective control. Miss Pipito, please read.
Selective control, so it refers to the practice of targeting specific economic variables or sectors using policy instruments while minimizing unintended consequences.
Okay, thank you, Miss Pipito. Let's say the government wants to boost a certain industry like renewable energy without causing inflation and the overall economy. Instead of implementing broad policies that affect everyone, they might offer tax incentives or subsidies specifically for companies in the renewable energy sector. This way, they are targeting support to that industry while minimizing unintended consequences in other parts of the economy. It's like watering just the plants you want to grow in your garden rather than drenching the whole yard. So we have last two. Oh, sige. Who wants to read the need for policy coordination? Okay, Miss Tolintin, please read.
The need for policy coordination, so ensuring different economic policies work together to avoid conflicts and achieve desired outcomes, like controlling inflation and promoting growth, by policy makers collaborating effectively and adjusting strategies accordingly.
Thank you, Miss Tolintin. So, hunahuna nga ang kanang policy coordination kay mura siyag usa ka team sa basketball. Each player has a specific role to play. If di sila maka-communicate og tarong and they can't work together, the team won't perform well. For example, ang usa ka player nag-aim og kanang at boosting economic growth, then ang usa kay nag-aim og controlling inflation. If they don't coordinate their efforts, the team might struggle. But if they communicate and adjust their strategies together, they can achieve their goals effectively. Similarly, sa kanang policymakers need to coordinate their actions to ensure that different economic policies work together smoothly to achieve the desired outcome. So, lastly is the imperfections and trade-offs. Miss Villanueva, please read. Okay. Wala si Miss. Na di ay. Sorry, no good viewer.
The last one na ba ni?
Yes, your kanang letter F.
Letter F, the imperfections and trade-offs. So in economic decision making, acknowledging limitation and making difficult choices due to conflicting objectives and unforeseen consequences, requiring policymakers to balance goals and adapt strategies accordingly.
Thank you, Miss Villanueva. So let's say ang usa ka company ganahan mo nindot ang quality sa ilang product but keeping prices low for customers. However, improving quality often requires investing more money man jud no, which could lead to higher prices. So the company has to decide how much quality improvement is worth the potential increase in prices. Like this is all about balancing the trade-off between quality and affordability. So that's all, everyone. That's the end of our discussion. Thank you for listening. Thank you, guys. Pwede na ta mo leave, everyone.